which has been actually challenging, because many of the people, it's quite an easy job, because whenever you have to build up some of the goals, ideas, dreams, desires, it's easy to write it down, it's easy to visualize. But the problem is, but the challenge is, but the real dilemma is that if you look into that goals, if you look into that scenario whatsoever we have been built, and if I ask you this question, how many of you right now, if you've been the part of that journey where you have established your goal, how far you've been able to go so far? How much of these goals, dreams, ambitions, desires you have achieved so far? I'm going to tell you some of the statistics that say that not more than 3 to 4% of the people, not more than 3 to 4% of the people, they have been able to pursue their goals, dreams, desires, and ambitions, and 90% plus 95% people, they perish on the way. So there is certain pattern, there is certain way, there is certain thought process, there is certain mechanism which actually operate, and today we have to uncover that, and today we have to work onto that mechanism, that any of the roadblocks, if it comes on the way, we can just parse it through, we can make things happen for us. So this is my excitement, and I'm going to share with you that this is a way in which I've been practicing it on some of my profound, some of the most compelling goals for myself. Alhamdulillah, I've been able to achieve a lot, many of them. So are you happy? Are you excited about it? I know today is a bit of easy day. Inshallah, we are going to have an exciting vacations ahead, and I'm going to say an advance Eid Mubarak to all of you. It's a great time to stay with your loved one and dear one. But one thing as a gift from my side, this is an Eid gift, you can say, whatsoever you are going to develop on this piece of paper, I would ask you to take it with your family, to take it with your growing up kids, and try to evaluate, try to write it down, your goals and your family goals and the kids. And this is the biggest gift I can see. You can reflect upon that. All right, are you ready now? All right, so let's have a look into that. What is on the chart today? As I mentioned, just take a piece of paper, and on this piece of paper, just draw those columns. For example, I have just chosen that basically in our life, these are being segmented whenever we build our goals, dreams, desires, ambitions, is actually either being about myself, or it is about my relationships, about my family, or it is about my professional career, or it is about my finances, my financial life, or if you want to add on another one, it is a social life which I've been having. So basically our life has been broken up into those segments. So whenever people make their goals and desires and dreams, they always build around that. So I would ask you, just write it down in this way. Now I have to ask you one thing, which you can write it down along with myself. Let's take one example, and I would say, all right, I'm going to take about my physical, about myself. So if I ask you, if on a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 is the maximum value, it means that in every way, whatsoever your ideal self, whatsoever the ideal image you carry about yourself, what exactly comes into your mind? What is your ideal self? I mean to say, if you talk about your health, if you talk about your physical shape, what exactly is the thing you would like to see within yourself? What you like to see? I mean to say, if you have established some of the goal for yourself, what precisely it look like? So for example, if you say, Kamran, I would like to have myself in a shape, and I would like to be my BMI into that level. I would like to be that my weight is to be within that specific value. I would like that I'm having no issues like that which is related with any health, something like that. What is your ideal future? What exactly you like to have that? And if this ideal self is 10 for you, then I ask you one of the thing, if you compare yourself where you are right now. So because as I mentioned that this chart requires a lot of integrity, a lot of honesty within ourselves. We are not going to show this chart to anyone. I would ask you, just put this chart in front of you and evaluate yourself where you are, because today what we are going to cover, what are the things we are going to discuss over here, I'm going to give you a guarantee that once you will look into that, it's going to give a different paradigm shift for us. And I can talk about it, that if we understand the whole philosophy, why irrespective of our burning desires, sometimes we are not being able to achieve it, today is a great discovery for all of us. So let's evaluate yourself. So for example, For example, I take this dimension, and if I say, all right, if I'm going to write it down for myself, what is the ideal future for myself? So I would say, I would like to be medicine free. I don't want to take any medicine for cholesterol. I would like to be a diabetic free. I would like to be in my perfect weight, which is my fighting weight, so that whatsoever I would like to do in my life, I have the energy to do that, and I don't want to have any sort of restrictions about it, and I'm being whatsoever the size I would like to go for. I would like to wear my perfect size as well, which looks good on me, and I would like to have all the parameters which is being evaluated within range. So this is an ideal future for myself. So when I look into that, and I say, okay, if this is a value at 10, now question is, where I am right now? What is my current state? Where I'm standing right now? So if I look into myself and say, all right, I have some of the challenges with my weight, I have some of the challenges with my cholesterol and things like that. So maybe I'll be around somewhere, you can say, all right, let's say, this is just an example, I say I'm at 6. So I'm at 6. So when I look into that, I'm being currently at 6, and I have a dream, I have a desire, I have an ambition, I have a burning desire that I have to reach over here. No, I have to go from 6 to 10. Now the question is, what is the first thing which comes into our way? What is the first thing whenever we build our dreams and desires? So for example, what you are required to do, first of all, you have to write it down over here, your ideal future. Okay? Have you got it? So you have to write it down, what exactly the ideal future for yourself. What exactly is the thing you like to see for yourself in the coming future? You like to have that weight, you like to have this and that. So write it down. And then you evaluate yourself where you are being right now. So you said, I am at 6. Ideally, it has been 10. You know what is the reason why people are not being able to achieve their goals? So write it down, the reason number 1. And we have to knock it down one by one. If we are being able to knock it down, we are having a clarity. So reason number 1, whenever people are not being able to achieve their goals, they don't have any bigger compelling reason. They don't have any compelling reason for them. So for example, if I ask you, okay, if somebody asks me, all right, Kamran, you like to come into that shape, you like to get into that weight, you like to be medicine free, etc. What is your compelling reason? Why you want to do that? Now, this reason is very important, because if I say my reason is that I would like to look good, so this is not that much attractive, which actually asks me to go to the gym and go for the diet plan for such an aggressive way, because this is not that much driving me, this is not that much pulling me. But what exactly is the way? So for example, if I think about it, if I say, okay, if I've been put myself into a perfect shape, it means that I had a lot of energy, that whatsoever the aims and ambitions which I carry for myself to contribute a lot into the life of the people, I had a lot of energy for myself. Now it sounds compelling. And then I look into that, all right, I would like to be in a perfect health, because whenever my family, my kids need me, I'm always been there 100% with them. I'm not been so much occupied with my own self and my own tragedies and my own dilemmas. I'm being able to support them, to facilitate them. Now, it sounds more compelling for myself. So question number 1, what is your compelling reason? Identify it. So my dear friends, please remember that if you have achieved, if you have write it down some of the goals and dreams and desires, but over a years, if you would be surprised to see that every year when you look into the list, the same goals appear. The reason is that there is no compelling reason for you. There is no compelling reason. So identify yourself. What exactly is the compelling reason for yourself? Now, once you identify what is the compelling reason for myself to achieve it, what you have to do, you have to write it down, that compelling reason over here. This is my compelling reason to achieve my ideal weight. This is my compelling reason to improve my relationship. This is my compelling reason to progress into my career. This is my compelling reason to achieve my ideal future. This is my compelling reason to have that sort of finances. So identify what is your compelling reason over here. Number 1. Now, once you have identified the compelling reason, the one thing you have to do more, and I suppose that once I've been describing you are been writing it down side by side, because if you will listen to that, of course, it is going to add up some of the knowledge for you. But this is not only for knowledge purpose, this is for the action purpose. So again, I recommend, please write it down so that you are being able to get the results out of it as well. So what is the next thing? The next thing you have to do, once you have identified compelling reason of it, you have to do two things over here. You have to do two things over here. What is these two things? You have to identify what are the gain if you are going to achieve this goal, and what would be the pain or a loss if you are not going to do it. This should be added into your compelling reason. So for example, you say, I would like to improve my health for the sake of my family. I would like to get into the shape so that I have a lot of energy to do that. All right, this is very exciting. This is very promising. This is very positive. Now, what happened if you are not going to do it? What is going to be the pain? What is going to be the loss? And then you think about it and you say, oh my God, if I'm not being able to do that, it means that one after the other, there is a bundle full load of medicines I have to take. I'm becoming a bit of dependent for so many of the people around. I'm being handicapped on so many of the things. I have to invest a lot of my finances on my medicines, etc. Now you can put a lot of pain over here. So every compelling reason, identify if you are not going to do it. If this ideal future you are not going to have, what pain is going to come into your life? Write it down. Write it down with precision, that if I'm not going to do it, this is going to happen for myself. And if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to achieve it, this is a pleasure, this is a reward I'm going to get it. I think I have shared this part that our human psychology is very, very interesting, because our human psychology by the Creator is built upon that mechanism. So our behaviors are being driven either to attainment of pleasure. So I'm doing something if I'm being excited about some of the rewards to get. And if there are some of the people which are not that much driven with the excitement of that reward, then the other derivative factor which drives them is the avoidance of pain. So I don't want to get that pain. So that exactly is the scenario which actually hold me that I have to just come and to deliver the best. I can quote that example. You might have seen many number of people whenever they listen a lot of video, they have listened to a lot of wise advices from the people about their health, blah, 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 but it doesn't drive them. It doesn't put them to come out of their bed and to go into the gym or to walk around and to take some of the precautionary measures about their diet. It doesn't drive them. But what happened on the very next day, if they got their blood report and doctor advised them that you are seriously in danger zone, if you are not going to do this, then you are going to face this. So what is going to happen with these people? The very next day you might find them, the people are hitting the gym, they have been going on the road. Why? Because avoidance of pain, that pain which comes, they can see is too much for them. So remember that we are being driven either with the attainment of pleasure or with the avoidance of pain. Remember that part. And one of the factors is more derivative in our personality. Maybe some of my colleagues, they have been more driven with the attainment of pleasure. So that reward part actually more drive them. And some of my colleagues, they are being more driven with the avoidance of pain. So you have to identify what is more driving factor for yourself, and you have to use it, whether you are a type of a person who's been driven with the avoidance of pain, or you are being the type of a person who has been driven with the attainment of reward. So identify your type of personality and use it. So number one, what we have done, we said identify your compelling reason. Now, once you have identified the compelling reason, the step number two, which come over here, the step number two, which you have to write it down, is actually you have to write it down. What are the things, if I have to achieve my ideal weight over here, if I have to achieve my ideal weight, if I have to get into my perfect BMI, what are the things I have to focus on? So for example, in order to achieve this thing, there might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now question is, all the 10 things are of equal importance? Answer is no. So what you have to do, first of all, you have to write it down. What are the things I have to be focused on? So first make a list of those things. So you say, all right, I'm going to write it down. For example, if I can move it down, if it can be, all right, let me, sorry. So what I'm saying, for example, if you make a list of things, if you will make a list of all the things which you can do in order to achieve that thing, so you can say I can do this, 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 this. So first you have to write it down, all the things over here. Now question is, once you have list down all the things, does all the things having the same impact? Answer is no. You do not need to do all of these things. What you have to do, you have to identify, you have to apply 80-20 formula over here. And you have to identify what are the 20% of these areas, what are the 20% of these things which I can focus, which can give me 80% of the results. So you have to identify that. You do not require to do a lot of 100 number of things over here. Just identify top 20%. So for example, if I look into that, all right, I have figured out for myself, I would say that one of the person I was just been met almost 2 weeks back, and this person has an amazing transformation, and I asked him a question. I said, what is the one thing? I don't want to listen to 100 number of things. What is the one thing which you have practiced has actually given you that shape, has given you that result? And he instantly answered me. He said, Kamran, I'm having a watch and I'm having a goal every day that I go for a 20,000 steps, and this worked for myself. Fantastic. And this is going to give me a maximum result, and rest of the things is automatically set into the shape because I do not need to think about this and that. So I got an idea that if you identify what are your 2 or 3 most critical things which you can identify. So I say, for example, for myself, walking is a more enjoyable process. So if I focus on it, and secondly, if I enhance and look into my water intake, for example, and if I do not go for a dinner after 7 o'clock, a simple step. So what I can do, I can say that this is going to give me, these 3 steps are going to give me a this is going to give me a maximum result over here. All right. So these results, out of these 3, what are the things which I can focus more? So I can focus more on these 3 things. So, or these 2 things, for example. So I can focus on it. One of the criteria I'm going to tell you that our mind has one interesting phenomena. It is called a reticular activating system. And this mind focus in such a way, I can quote an example. For example, if there is a dark room, absolutely a dark room, and there is a lot of stuff has been placed in that room. You might have seen there is a furniture over there, there is a sofa set over there, there is a bed over there, there is a TV over there, fridge over there, inside the room a complete darkness. And somebody has given you a torch and you get inside that dark room. So what you are going to see, so wherever your torch goes, you will see that in that dark room, that area become illuminated, that area become more visible, it's more attractive, it's more create its presence. All right. So if you move your torch to some other area, now you can see some other things. But in the meanwhile, this stuff which you have seen now, it has become vanished. So I am taking that metaphor that our brain work in the same process. So whenever we are having our focus, so our mind is attractive towards those things where I would like to get my attention to. So for example, if I like to be focused more onto the things which the people have already achieved that sort of success, or you might have seen that mechanism that whenever you are being in a process of reducing weight or getting into your fighting weight and being in the shape, you always come across a lot of people around in your surrounding which are doing the same. And you might surprise, oh my God, he is doing that, she is doing that. Now question is, why it suddenly become apparent to you? They already been existing there, but the question was my reticular activating system, my focus was not there. Now I got my focus, so everything which is been in that surrounding doing the same, I got the same stuff. I hope it sounds sense to you. So whensoever you identify what are your main focus areas, what you can do in order to achieve that goal, you are being more consistent with it. And whenever you feel that your energy, your commitment is sliding down, so what comes onto your way? Your compelling reason. And if you will feel like I feel lethargic not going to the gym or going for my walk, then your pain, which you have already identified what pain it can cause you. So this is going to drive you over here. All right. So we have got one of the things which is my compelling reason. I have to see whether I'm being a pain driven or a player driven. And then you identify what areas I can focus on so that I can achieve my results. Now, a couple of more things now. So out of that, for example, you say, I take this example, you say, I'm going to take as my focus area, I have to walk. All right, I'm just taking one example. I have to walk. Now, when you say I have to walk, you have to put certain detailed strategy over here. Now, this is your strategy area. You have to put what actions you are going to take when you are going to walk, how many number of, minutes or hours you have to plan yourself. What would be the mechanism? What is the best way in which you can ensure that you are going for it? So you have to put your strategy over here. So you have to put your strategy. Now the strategy steps are, for example, I opted for my walk. Now my strategy is that I have figured out for myself, my part of the strategy, I'm a morning person. So if I had a high energy early in the morning. So if I do my walk early in the morning, this is more feasible for myself. Towards the end of the day, I feel like I'm drained out of that energy. So if I've been planned myself to do a walk in the evening, it is not going to be workable. So I put my strategy that I'm going to do a walk early in the morning. That's fantastic. Number two, I have coupled it up with something interesting. And I say, if sometime walk is not attractive for me, what exactly is the thing which can pull me out? So always, if you come across me while I'm been walking on the corniche, you might always have found that I'm having my headset, which has been with me, and to tell you something amazing, that I actually have transformed my walking time into my learning time as well. So whenever I'm being on the walk, for example, if I'm planned myself for 45 minutes or half an hour walk over there with certain number of steps which I have to accomplish, I'm getting a double advantage, because while I'm being on the walk, my part of the strategy is I educate myself. And this education process is, there is something inspirational is always been running over there, some new skill set which I like to discover, like to encourage myself, has to do that. I'm being always focused on it. So imagine if every day, 45 minutes to 1 hour, not only I'm been walking around, rather as a part of my strategy, I'm been actually educating myself how much profound it is, how much attractive it is. And the third thing is that in that part of the strategy, I always have made that on weekly basis, I can monitor my weight, and on quarterly basis, I will go for my medical checkup. Now, this is sufficient. This is not complicated. This is very simple. And what is more important, I'm not committing myself for a shorter period in time as a part of my strategy. I'm committing a long term. I've been committing that this is my part of the life. I'm not going to leave it. So when you think from that angle that, oh, this is just a short term sort of stuff and then I'll get back into whatsoever I'm doing. No, my dear friend, you have to make a long term commitment. Make it as a lifetime, your what you can say, a lifestyle. And then you will have a different result. All right. So we have talked about strategy. Now, what is more important? And this is last but not the least, and I'm going to write it down for you so that you can understand. Sometime we have a clarity about our ideal life, how it look like. We have a clarity about our compelling reason. We have a clarity about our focus area. We have a clarity what is the strategy we are going to have, but still we are not being able to do that. You know the reason why we are not being able to do that? One thing, my dear friends, one thing, please remember that. Sometimes we carry a conflicting beliefs in our mind for the same stuff which we want to do. So for example, I come across some of my colleagues, they said they had a burning desire to earn a lot of wealth for blah, 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 blah. They have this compelling reason and things like that, but they're not been able to do any action onto it. And when you discover, you found that they have some of the conflicting beliefs as well. On one hand, they would like to go and to like to excel in their career, they like to deliver a lot. On the other hand, they had a belief, by virtue of something, they believe earning a lot of wealth is evil, because they have found some of the people around which are having a lot of wealth with them. This is the example they see, oh, this is going to make some people more evil onto that. Now, what is the conflict they're getting? So they take 2 steps and they take 1 step back. Similarly, when they talk around, some of the people I have found that they say, all right, when we are going to have that for my health, this is good, this is fine. But you know, sometime when you have been taking that step, it makes you weak, it makes you lethargic and blah, blah, blah. So on some end, they would like to achieve some of the goal, but they are holding something within, something is holding them back. So what you have to do, you have to make your analysis. What is holding you back? Why you are not been able to achieve up till now? What are the beliefs you are having up till now about yourself, which you are not been able to achieve up till now? What is the conflicting beliefs you are having? What is your roadblock? What is the thing which is holding you back in your relationship, that you are not been able to create a strong bond with your family? What exactly is the criteria? For example, I have found some of the people when they say they would like to have a very close relations with their kids, but on the back end of their mind, they have found that when they have been growing up, their father or their mother they've been always holding some of the distance with their kids. And sometimes they feel like this is a good step to be more friendly with my kids or not. So something, they take 1 step forward, 2 steps forward and 1 step backward. And this is a way that the dilemma happened. They are not being able to go. I quote this example. For example, if I give you a boat and you have to row it on the river, and you overnight you have been doing it, but early in the morning, if you found that this boat has been tugging with the chain somewhere over there, and irrespective you have been rowing it, it is not going forward. So this chain, my dear friends, we have to break within ourselves, because this is our limiting belief, and if we are not going to make the break into that, we are not going to progress. So you have to write it down. I'm going to write it down. The question: what is the thing what is your mental blocks? What is holding you back not to achieve it? What is your conflicting beliefs? For example, you like to earn a lot of money, but what is your conflicting belief? Oh, earning a lot of money is evil. Now, this is not going to give you that sort of drive that you can go for it. What exactly is the scenario? You have to think about it. About your professional career, sometimes we got this conflicting belief and we say, all right, it is very good, it is fine, it is good that we have to progress. But there's no question about the progress, because ultimately we have to die someday. No, this is something different. So the question is, what is more important, my dear friends? Identify what is your roadblocks, all right? So I've just talked about one aspect of it. What I'm going to ask you, and this is a very sincere request for all of you, this is something which I have found the high achievers, the people who are having a balanced life, they have been doing it. And this is a gist of learning I got across the world when I come across people who are amazing, and I do it, and you can see a lot of my work, I actually do it as well for myself as well, and I can tell you, I can guarantee you that all the time it gives you an amazing result. Let's quickly recap what we have done, and I will leave this thought for you with all the prayers for your health, wealth, for your progress, and with all the fantastic, wonderful time which you are going to have with your family. Let's quickly recap. We have talked about that although we are having some of our goals, aims, desires, dreams, ambitions, many number of times we are not being able to progress, and we have synthesized what is a framework. So we said, if you make a chart and you identify on each domain what your ideal life look like, and you put the details of it, just write it down over there. What is your ideal life look like in all the aspects? Then identify what is a compelling reason for you, why you want to achieve. For example, before going there, identify which level you have been in. If this is a 10 with all the aspects, which level you have been in. So you can say I am on 6 or 7 or 5 whatsoever. You have to build in the gap. So how you are going to build in the gap? First of all, you have to identify what is your compelling reason, and in order to have a compelling reason, identify what is the pain if you are not going to achieve it, and what are the rewards you are going to get it, because we have talked about that our behaviors are driven by either pain or pleasure. And second thing, you have to identify, if I have to achieve this thing, what are the few areas where I can focus on, which I can make my areas to be focused on. So you identify those focus areas. Then if you identify 1 or 2 of those focus areas, you will establish number 3, the strategy, how you are going to make it happen. These 2 or 3 areas where you can be focused more. And once you have the strategy, then you have to look into that. What is your roadblocks? What are the conflicting beliefs which you are having about that, which is holding you back up till now, and you have to write it down. So once you are having a clarity about your compelling reason, once you are having a clarity about the focus, once you are having identified and been breakthrough from your roadblocks, your journey is fantastic. And you are going to make things happen, my dear friend. And I would invite you that you have to do this exercise. And please do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait it for tomorrow. Just take a piece of paper, just put a certain scribble onto it, write it down, irrespective of how sketchy it look like. Do it at least one aspect of it right now before it gets faded away. And once you have done that, then you will make it as a finer print and have it with yourself. And do let me know once you started working onto it, how it is going to be happen with you.